Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I'm Greg Bulmash, and I'm here for Alexa Developer Office Hours. We do these Tuesday mornings at 9 a.m. Pacific. And today I'm going to welcome in a representative from Alexa Developer Abdi, Yan Kao. Yan.
Hello. Hi, everyone.
So, um, instead of looking at the camera, I'll probably be looking over here. Let me just move my pictures because I try to look at uh, the screen and my camera's in the middle of two screens. So that's quite often I'm just doing the whole stream looking like this. And I will try to look here. So hi, Milton. And we got an early question from Fabio back around 20 minutes ago. Fabio, if you're still here, give a shout out in chat. Hi, Trade Last. Welcome. Ah, yes, Fabio is here. So, you know, we're here to answer questions, and although we do want to everybody who joins us because you're all awesome and we love you and we really appreciate you joining us, especially some of our regulars who actually are just such great contributors and add so much value just here in chat. We really appreciate you. We're going to get to the first question, which is from Fabio. He preceded this one, and I'll share it with y'all. And Fabio's asking, when he submits a skill to be approved, can you write it in Portuguese or does he need to write it in English? So, Jan, you want to take this?
Yeah, so Alexa Skills does support Portuguese Brazil. So when you submit your skills for certification, feel free to add all the skill details or the metadata in Portuguese, and our testers will be able to review the skill in Portuguese as well.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw in a couple of links here for you. One is our documentation link on using multiple languages. And then there's another one, if you don't want to like create multiple versions of your skill, uh, one of our evangelists, Andrea, created a really great blog post on localizing your skill a couple of years back, and it's pretty good. And I'm going to put that in there as well. So there we go. And let's see here. I think yes. Okay, good. Going to both. I'm just making sure it's going to both our Twitch and YouTube streams because some shows are bilingual. We're bistreamal. We're streaming on both Twitch and YouTube, and we appreciate everybody who's jumping uh, in both places. All righty. So, uh, also welcome Gerardo, and we have another question. Let me highlight it here. Wow, it's like totally that's huge on the screen. So, we have Milton asking, I use user ID for my key in DynamoDB and a lot of skills. What I find is that during the automated testing that you do before submission for certification, during the submission process, a lot of fake users get generated, which take up a bunch of records. Are there any tricks I can use to identify and tag these fake users to remove them from the database? Uh, I presume Amazon has a way to separate them so they're not included in their statistics. You got any thoughts on that, Jan?
No, yeah, I've never come across this question before, unfortunately.
Well, the good thing is that I can save this out and we'll copy that and I will hand it off to you. And maybe we can come back with an answer in the Alexa community Slack. So, for those of you who have not been by the Alexa community Slack, it's alexa.design slash Slack, head in and highlight it. So go to this URL, get yourself signed up for the Alexa community Slack, and that'll help you get set up so that you can join in the conversation. And if we have uh, any other information for you from questions maybe we need to do a little research on, possibly something like this, we can post it there and hopefully you'll see it. So I'm going to take that off the screen. But Milton's got to follow up more generally. How often do other devs clean inactive users from their databases? And that I think is really up to you. Um, you get a pretty generous allowance of records in your DynamoDB if you're using Alexa hosted. And if you're not, it's still really fairly inexpensive. So, one of the things that I would say is, you know, if I were doing it, I would wait until like 6 months out and then I would clear anybody who hadn't been active in 3 to 4 months, because they're probably not coming back unless it's one of those kinds of skills where they would. Um, and you can actually just sort of time, make sure that you add to that user record date of last access. And, that's why I do that. Let's see here. I will take this one, which is why is the Alexa Skill Builder specialty removed from AWS certification? And that is, well, that was AWS's choice, uh, but also it didn't seem to be getting the results that they wanted. So it's a lot of work to keep one of those certifications up to date and a lot of expense. And I guess they chose not to. That's that's the best we can give you. Now we'll go back to a technical question, and this is okay. How can you configure AWS Lambda function to Alexa skill developer? When they copy in the ARN and ask endpoint, it pops up like it is hosted as an AWS endpoint. Please help. And he says it is not. Um, you know, uh, it's not hosted. It's not Alexa hosted. So can you take a pass at that? Yeah.
For that, I think there could be different reasons, and for us to further investigate the issues, I would recommend to reach out to us through the contact us page, because in there we will have your skill IDs or your skill information, and we can look further into this issue for you.
Okay. And do you have a link for the contact us page that you can pop into the chat?
Yes.
And while we're there, let me welcome Oxygen Box, who joined us. Uh, Alexander Martin, Zeladotby, Gerardo, thank you. Um, and let's see here. Data driven skills, thank you. Joel Farvault, thank you. Thank you all for joining us. Um, and Wooming 1980, whose question about the certification. Um, so and Trade Last had asked if the certification was not current and saw that it was expiring. Yeah, we're making a lot of advances in Alexa. We introduced conversations, we introduced a lot of features last year. We got more coming. We just introduced some great APL stuff end of last month or beginning of this month. So it's really cool. And so let me see here. I think there was another question. I'm going through the chats and I just want to point this out. Very good questions, Milton. And Oxygen's box said he'd be scared to delete the wrong record accidentally. I always err on the side of caution. That's why, it's sort of like I won't delete a user until they've been inactive for a while. I had a site where I didn't delete users unless they had been active for like 18 months. Uh, Luckily, the site lived that long. um, and Yan pointed out the link here for the contact us. This is a form that'll get you to our developer advocacy group and get you a case number. Um, it also helps if it's more of a standard question to post it in the forums and then share it to developer advocacy with the forum post ID with the forum post link. That way, if they want to answer it publicly, other people can benefit from it. Rising tide lifting all ships. All right. So let's see here. I will go with this question from Mike Elmore. Mike wants to make an app that's purely for him and his home. Is this possible? Yeah.
Um, the first thing that jumped on my mind is that um, so when you create a skill, you want to make it public, then you have to submit it for certification. If you don't submit the skill for certification, then it will be you to use. So um, it is possible, but you just need to not submit the skill.
So one question would be: are there any particular steps he needs to take to ensure that his skill is available in his home? Oh, I think Jan froze. Back, frozen. You still there? There we go. Uh, are there any particular steps he needs to to take to make sure that the skill that he creates is available in his home?
Sorry, can you repeat your question again? I'm breaking up. I think my connection is kind of bad.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Are there any particular steps he needs to take to make sure that the skill is available in his home?
No, I think when you create a skill, you can test it in the simulator, and you'll see whether the skill works or not. So yeah.
What about making sure like that the email address he's got his Alexa device registered to and the email address he's using for his Alexa developer account match?
Um,
Does he need to do that? So that because from what I understand, if your developer account and your device account have the same email address, then you can actually use your in development skill and unsubmitted skill
oh,
in your device.
right, yeah. So when you create a skill, and the in development version of the skill would be in the Alexa app, and you have to make sure that when you sign into the Alexa app, you're using the same login email that you log into the developer console. That way, when you log into the Alexa app, then you'll see your in development version of the skill, and you'll be able to use that skill by yourself.
All righty. And let's see here. Got a couple of them. So we'll, Milton, I'm going to come back to your question a little bit. We want to get to a couple other people's questions. So here's a good one from Data Driven Skills. Are we allowed to have GDPR restricted data in Alexa skill databases? Do you have any insight on that? Yeah.
For that, I don't have any information. Again, I think I'll prefer the developer to write in to contact us in case we have more information to provide.
All right. We'll do that. Yeah, because I don't know about that. I would think that, if you're giving the same GDPR options, but it's not as easy to do that in a skill, is it? So let's see here. And data driven skills is saying, how do I find out if my Alexa user has linked their Amazon account?
Um, this one I will need your help, Greg.
Okay. So one of the things I'll ask data driven skills, when you say your Alexa user, you mean yourself, correct? Is this about a testing question or this is in general? Um, well, the thing is, if you've gone through account linking, uh, then basically an access token is provided uh, with all the requests that are sent to your skill, so that you can actually access that account. So if you look at our documentation page for account linking, it talks about how to um, actually get at to check whether or not there's a token. And then if there is a token, you can proceed on with your skill as, with confidence that the account has been linked and you can use the token. Although sometimes you might want to test it to make sure it's valid, just in case. Uh, Otherwise, then you would need to go through some sort of account linking flow. So definitely, it's available there. You just have to code for to check for it, and that's in the docs. I can pull up a link for that at some point. But we store the token for you, and we pass the token to you with every request. So if their account is linked, you'll get the token in the request. If it's not, you won't, and you can check for its existence. Let's see here. And okay, let's see here. All right. Going to go back through the questions because I did say I would get back to Milton's question. And here's one from Jan. Have you ever heard of any situations where you might want to throttle lambda or Alexa skills subject to bot attacks?
Um, I think this one will be more of a AWS questions if you're hosting a skill on AWS Lambda.
Okay. So here's some just a thought off the top of my head. It's pretty unlikely that your end users will ever know what your lambda ARN is or know how to identify your lambda. So if there was a bot attack on a lambda, it would probably have to be pretty random. That's my thinking. But yeah, beyond that, you'd have to check AWS on what they do to prevent like DDoS or bot attacks on lambdas. Um, so let's see here. Now we have one. We have Gabrielle Spampanato has a problem with the skill. Implemented name-free interaction and the can fulfill intent requests, but in production and in tests, the intent is never called. Is there a complete example? Any examples would be in the docs because last I checked, I may be wrong. Name free interactions was still in private beta. So we're not going to be doing putting out a lot of public samples on that. And if you're in the name free interaction private beta, you're probably interacting with a product manager, and you can ask them. Uh, as for can fulfill intent request, neither of these are guarantees that you'll get called. These are just making it possible for you to give better signals to the algorithms that your skill is ready for these types of calls. So um, definitely on name free intent, I would talk to the if it's still in private beta, I would talk to the PM who admitted you and see if they've got something better. Um, for a can fulfill intent request, you know, it's there, but it's not perfect and it's not guaranteed. So it just helps. Let's see here. Let's go through another. Ba, 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 ba. S- Let's see here. Okay. Here's an interesting thing. Any question suggestions about accessibility for the visually impaired when using uh, Alexa? Yeah, do we have any additional accessibility advice that we give?
Um, trying to think whether we have anything. I would suggest to have a better voice interaction within your skill if you're designing your skill for visually challenged people. That way, they don't need to specifically see anything from a screen and they can interact directly with voice. That would be my first thought in mind. Greg, do you have any suggestion as well?
Well, there are a couple of things. One, I might use some SSML to have Alexa slow down a little bit
Mm,
and speak a little more slowly so it's easier to understand. Uh, I would try to simplify any complex words into more simple terms. Um, additionally, uh, make sure that you have really good sample phrases for all of your intents. So there's less of a chance of a mistake of an intent not being the right way. That's good for everything. That's good all the time, but especially when you're dealing with somebody who may not be able to see the screen. And last, definitely have better support, really good reprompt phrases. Really think out your reprompt phrases. Um, and whether, you're just going to repeat the question or you might repeat the question in another way or even have a special thing that allows them to ask for the question to be repeated. Uh, so that you're remembering if they go for a repeat or something like that, you're remembering what the last question you asked them was. Yeah, and you can store that in session attributes. So you've got a very good idea where they are in the quiz or test in case they get lost or sidetracked into a different intent. You can always pull them back because your code knows where they were. That's what I would recommend. But that's not. I don't know if we have that written out anywhere. That's just me from having done this for now 18 months. What I would recommend. So here's one from Fabio, and let's see here. Received an answer about his certification skill. Um, and so Fabio, what's the question? Because this is more of a statement. All right, we'll come back to that. Um, and then we have Oliver Gonzalez here. I have a problem with a variable because lost value after 5 minutes. Okay. Um, do you want to? Do you think you can address that, Yen?
Um, need your help.
All right. So I can only. I'm looking through here. I'm not seeing that you've offered any follow up information. Well, there we go. A different thing. Uh, so lost value after 5 minutes. I'm guessing that basically you went out to an audio player and the actual skill session ended, or the skill session timed out for whatever reason. And with that, you need to use a persistence adapter and store that variable with persistence. And we actually do address that in part of our cake time tutorial. I think it's like module 5, which is how to store values between sessions. And with the persistence adapter, uh, we have both for DynamoDB and for S3. You can store values for as long as possible and then pull them up when that same customer comes back. Uh, and then also, if you go into our cookbook for testing, I created a local if you're working locally, you're debugging locally. I have a local persistence adapter in the cookbook. So definitely, let me see if I can pull up that URL. Uh, yeah, so let me put in this URL here, and I will share that. That is our page for managing attributes. Um, and so the thing is that if you just use the straight up attribute manager, it will remember the variable for the length of the session when the session times out or is intentionally ended. Then it throws out all that information. Um, so we'll. So you really need, yeah, you need to use a persistence adapter, and it will be held in the thing. Okay, so Fabio with the question was asking about uh, COVID-19 and policy on uh, apparently skills mentioning COVID-19 are being subjected to a stricter policy based on his experience. Do we have something that we can say about that yet?
No, I don't have any further information on that.
Okay. Um, yeah, I don't have the official policy. We can see if we can get a oh, there we yeah. Steve Nelson brought in a quote saying, in effort to ensure accuracy and consistency of information with customers, they are limiting skills. Uh, I can see if we can get something deeper than that. But yeah, I cannot comment further because anything else would be speculation. And we try not to speculate on policy stuff on the stream just because it's you know I yeah as the old acronym goes, IANAL. I am not a lawyer. So, so let's see. And welcome Gold Zulu coming in with a smart comment. And when I say smart, I mean snarky. Let's see here. Trade last has a link about policy testing. Thank you, Trade last. Ah, and Alexander Martin, Zella.b or Zella.be, which is what technically I think is the pronunciation of this. Also, in terms of the variables that are getting lost, if you're using an in-memory cache on your Lambda, a Lambda function can be terminated or started, and the cache will die. Uh, pardon me. Uh, People were with me on APL Power Hour last week know that about halfway in I get a little get a little bit of this, and I really should have some tea ready. Um, but definitely, although, and this is very interesting, um, they introduced, I think, beginning of this year or late last year, an ability to create a persistent block device that all your instances of a specific lambda can access. So you can use that block device as persistent memory for your lambdas. Um, so, hey, well, W. Giorgio, thank you for joining us. Um, and let's go back and check through our questions. What have we got here? And so, Oliver, I'm guessing the update metadata in real time with an audio player for a radio skill, was that related to maintaining the data across more than 5 minutes? And we've got another can't fulfill intent request. As I say, we can't talk that much about it. We can try and get you some answers from a PM on can't fulfill intent request, or if you have a PM contact, you should ask them because that is still, as far as I know, in private beta. All righty. So data-driven skills had followed up on the question about the token uh, that they had the Amazon account. How do I secure the data in the DynamoDB associated with the skill with the access token? Um, yeah, uh, yeah, you don't need to store that. We store it for you. Um, you can, if you're trying to access um, AWS resources on your customer's behalf, like within their account, that gets into a way more complex account linking than just a simple Alexa account linking because you may, I don't even know that gets into some serious AWS stuff. uh, and I would look into that. But if you're just checking to see if they have linked their account, their Amazon account, then you have an access token, and you may be, I believe, you get ID, uh, access to the login with Amazon profile stuff. So you may be able to hit the LWA profile endpoint with that token and get more information on the customer, including a another unique ID that is created for your app and the customer by login with Amazon that would be separate from the customer ID that's created by Alexa for the customer that they pass to you. So there are multiple things. Okay, so can't fulfill intent has gone to public beta. Yes, yes, that does. Name free uh does require yeah, private. So yeah, I'm saying, yeah, as I said with can't fulfill intent, what samples we have are in the docs. I don't think that um my group has created any. Do you have any that your group may have created, Yan?
No, we don't. As far as we know, it's currently in public beta and it's for English US skills only. Um, Again, if you have issues related to that, we might be able to get some more information from the appropriate internal team. Just write into us through the contact us, and we'll see what we can do for you. But there's no promise there. But we can try to get more information and help you out if needed. But we cannot make any promises right now.
And I'm going to bring up a question from the chat that was over on YouTube. And this was Vince Bartle asking, can they access an Echo's camera for computer vision? And this was answered a couple of moments later by Gold Zulu. Not at the moment. I will back that up. Um, so let's see here. What do we got? Um, so this is something nice for your team. Yeah.
Yay! Thank you.
So thanks to W Giorgio for giving a shout out to the Alexa Contact Us team. Not only did they help fix the question, actually send a JSON response that worked perfectly. Thank you. All righty. And as you can see, if you're watching our chat, we do have two separate chats going. We have the YouTube chat uh, and the Twitch chat going in separate, in tandem. While I and Jan get to see all of them, you get to see whichever ones you're logged into, although it seems that a couple of you are logged into both. So that's awesome too. Um, so let's see. Is there a good question that has not been answered by our community yet, or that we can point out? Let's see. We've got some APL experts here, um, and I think okay. So so Frank Programmer has asked about keeping an APL document on screen for a long time, and do you do it with idle timeout? Is there a maximum value? And Alexander Martin, who is the creator of APL.Ninja, which I will be featuring once again tomorrow on the APL Power Hour at this time on this channel, 9 to 10. Um, Alexander Martin is a great community resource for APL information. And he provided a great answer for Frank's question. So Milton Wong has some questions about how does the user experience the can fulfill intent request? Jan?
Um, so my understanding to that is that when user voice out a command, then it, without invocation name, of course, then if your skill specifies that your skill can fulfill that intent, then um, it's possible that the user will be routed to your skill. That's my understanding to it.
All right. Another thing we can do is we can pull up that can fulfill intent request and we can go right to our docs here. Let me just pull that up here. We'll bring that up. You know, we don't always have all the answers right off the tops of our heads, but we have built a lot of skills in looking through our docs. Isn't that right?
Mhm.
So let's see here. Okay. Okay, so if we look at the high level overview, we'll start in at number 2. If a skill is implemented can't fulfill intent according to the interface specification, the skill should be aware that the skill is not yet being asked to take action and should not modify any state outside its scope or have any observable interaction with its own calling functions or outside world besides returning a value. Thus, the skill should not at this point perform any actions such as playing sounds, turning lights on or off, providing feedback to the customer, etc. Alexa collects the responses from the original list of candidate skills and it considers them along with other factors to select the best way to fulfill the customer's request. Alexa will then call this skill back with an intent request. When Alexa calls back the selected skill with an intent request, the skill must fulfill this intent request and answer the customer just as if they got a skill request where the customer had invoked the skill by name. So, um, so that's a good question. Does What is the response to the customer? Is the customer being told um, that such and such a skill is being used? Um, honestly, now when we were doing our name free interaction demos back at Alexa Live, I have, I can't pull up the video right now, but honestly, what I was doing, for Nick's sleep jar skill or sleep sound skill is I was asking Alexa to help me relax, and Alexa said, I have a great skill by this name that's good for this. Would you like to use it? And I said, yes. And then it started it. So I believe that, that may have been name free rather than can fulfill, but I believe that Alexa does identify the skill when they transfer you to it. So uh, I wish I had a quick and easy demo, but I don't know of one that's only got can fulfill intent and not name free. Um, but I mean, I can try to pull up uh, name free. If there's enough interest, I'll just go to Nick. I'll just try the help me relax. I just got to make sure that that my mic's turned on because I mute the mic on all my devices in my office. All righty. So, Trade Last says, uh, replied to Milton, love to see a video of an NFI session with an actual user. That's in my Alexa Live video from last July. Um, Using Nick Schwab's skill, I used a statement that I knew would pull his skill up, and it was a very general statement. Um, and there's actually that video uh, straight up in in the skill quality and customer retention video that I did with Nick and Quinn Cochran at Alexa Live last year. So we've got a smart home question. Are you good with smart home, Jan?
No, it's not my expertise area, but we can check out the question and see if we can help.
Okay, I will put it up on screen, and Jan can tell us if. Yeah, I know nothing about smart home. I have one smart home device in my house, and it was a disappointment. I wanted to make sure that I could turn my youngest's bedroom lights off for bedtime, but all he had to do was flip the switch on and off and override that command. Where's JB Nunn? Where's Jeff? Jeff is busy working on other things.
So for that question, I would suggest to write into us, and our tech team would be able to look into it and help out on that.
All righty. And do you want to put that contact us link up again?
Yes. Okay, there we go.
So here's a good one. This is from Tech Nikunj or Nikunje. Tell me if I'm pronouncing it right. Can two different skills from different creators or from same developers interact with each other, or some skill can use any other existing skill? I will hand that off to Jan.
I'm not aware of something like this. Let's see.
All right.
So I was watching the office hours from last week, and Jeff mentioned something that I was not aware of before, which is the skill connection. But it looks like it's currently in developer preview, and to use that, you have to register your skill for the preview. And here's the documentation about that. And from the documentation, it says skill connections enable an Alexa skill to use another skill to perform a specific tasks. So that may be useful in this scenario, but again, this is in developer preview, and you do have to register for that. So
Well, that is so there are two different versions of skill connections. Um, there is skill connections and direct skill connections. Um, there are a few mediated skill connections that you can use that are available now, where you can ask for like a particular kind of service that is supported by skill connections. I believe, they're like a couple of ordering things and stuff like that, printing uh, that are currently supported for everyone, but you don't get to choose who your provider is. And the skill connections will pick a provider for you. Direct skill connections are where you can actually choose a specific provider to provide a specific custom task. And that could be your own skill, one of your own other skills, or a third party skill that is made a custom task available. And for that, that's in developer beta, that's in private beta. So there are a few uh, things that you can get now, but for to have a lot more control and variety, that's still coming, if and when it comes out of private beta. Um, so let's go. We got another question here from Marcello. Do you know if it's possible for Alexa to receive a phone call? Is there any hardware to connect?
I believe we have a built-in function for that functionality.
So, um, yeah, it's sort of funny. I worked in tech way back in the days where the cloud was called the frame relay cloud, was more of a network term. Uh, and if you had a phone number that was called POTS, plain old telephone service. Um, are you asking, is there a way for your Alexa device to have a phone number that somebody can call from their phone? Oh, and Trade Last has pulled up the name free intent video from Alexa Live. I will put that up. I'm afraid you'll still have to type it in, but you know, it's not a huge number there. So, yeah, as far as I know, Alexa calling is limited to Jan. Do you know if we can call out with Alexa calling? Can we call out to a phone number?
Um, I have not tried that. Actually, I don't know.
And uh, Buddy on the Mix says that they have called their Alexa device from their phone, but have no idea when or how they set it up. Um, Calling out though. Hmm. So we'll get into that. Again, uh, I'm going to put a link here in the chat. Dot slash. So with this link here, you can go to our Slack. It's the Alexa developer community Slack. And for a lot of these questions, we'll either try to come back to it and answer them there, or you can pose them there and the community has time to look at them, research them, answer them. We'd like to warn, it is not an alternative to support. It is not an alternative to writing into Jens team. If you thorny issue, but for quick questions, it's a great way to tap into the communal knowledge of, pardon me, Great way to tap into the communal knowledge of our developer community, and the great developer group mind, so that you can get some really great, you can get a lot of good answers. Okay. So we have some people talking about the phone abilities. W. Giorgio says you can call out to a phone number, but there isn't a phone number to call into. And TradeLast gave us a uh, URL in Twitch, and let me see if I can. Let me see if I can. Uh, it is really hard to copy and paste things this from this toolkit that we have here on our chat. So I will copy that, see if I can post it to the chat so everybody gets it. Oh. So I'm afraid for the YouTube people you'll have to type it in yourself, but also just Google make answer calls Amazon Echo and you should get that as a top result. So if you don't want to type in the whole thing, just type in part of it in your address bar, and most browsers will then post that to a search engine for you, which is a lovely feature. Oop, banged my mic. All righty. So let's see what we got here. Ah, good. Trade Last is double posting in Twitch and YouTube. So the YouTube folks should have seen that as well, which is helpful. Thank you. And Gold Zulu is calling himself. I guess this is Alexa communication inception, right? You call your phone from your Alexa. Alrighty, so we got 3 minutes left. Are there any other questions? I think we got time for one more good one. Uh, I do try and go back through the chat to find good ones. Not always the easiest thing because we have got quite the chat transcript here, which is awesome. Uh, Let me just say. The funny thing is, hey, I figured out how to highlight a tweet, highlight a comment. Finally. Um, so uh yeah, Rahul Yadav pointed out that it is possible to call your device from the Alexa app on your phone using essentially using drop-in or Alexa to Alexa communication. But yeah, there doesn't I don't as far as I know, you don't get a phone number, and I do not know if there's any equipment you can connect to your Echo device to get a phone number and turn it into like a real telephone of sorts. Let's see here. And we have a thank you from Fabio, thanking us for the presentation. Yeah, we really love helping out here. Um, did you have a good time, Jan?
Yeah, this is actually my first office hours, and it's fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it's you know I like to just sort of watch in the background if I can, when like Jeff's doing it because the side chat is so awesome. And I really want to thank all of our regulars, and even some of our new folks for joining us, for offering answers, for bringing great questions. Y'all make this a pleasure to do, and we really do appreciate you. So, uh, From Jan and from myself, thank you very much. Jan, do you have anything to add as a farewell?
Um, it's a very fun time, and I look forward to doing this again in the future.
All right. We look forward to having you. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you later. We got to bounce. Bye bye.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
thank
Bye.
you. Bye.